Hey, good evening, my brothers and sisters. Come to y'all tonight, man, and talk to y'all about the Jody syndrome, uh, mama's boy, I should say. Um, a lot of us know a lot of mama boys, or actually have some in their home. Um, it's not a good thing for us as Africans to treat our sons like that. And I'm gonna give you an example why. Um, I know you love your kids. You're supposed to love your kids, but there's a time to where you have to set um, standards for bystanders. You let your kid go off to school um, and put your kid in another person's hand. They're not the babysitter. They're the teacher. They might be an employer. Um, it might be a coach. Um, it might just be a relative. And the problem with that is we shelter our kids and we baby our boys and we expect everybody else to do it. So when it doesn't get done the way that you do it, you feel like someone is targeting your son. And I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Um, I knew someone that has a 13-year-old son, and he gets in trouble in school quite often. And the thing about it is for the same thing with multiple teachers calling, more than two teachers, maybe about three teachers. All of these three teachers has called about the same thing, getting out of your seat, talking out of turn, pouting, not getting upset when he can't answer the question, or just certain little things that we all go through. Um, so at the end of the day, we I think you guys know where I'm getting at. So at the end of the day, we have to change that. At the end of the day, we have to change that. Um, I'm gonna coin that phrase too. At the end of the day, and the reason why we have to change that is because like I said, when we release our kids. Oh, matter of fact, let me go back to that. Okay, so out of the seat, talking out of turn, pouting when he can't answer the question, throwing temper tantrums. And mind you, this is a 13-year-old boy. So what mothers do as being mothers, they allow their son to act like that at home. So when you release your son out to the public, as far as like school and the other things that I had brung up, you think that everybody else is supposed to treat him like that. So when they don't and they call you out on it, you feel like they're wrong. No, they're not wrong. At the end of the day, you're wrong because you're allowing your son to act like that and you expect everybody else to cater to that attitude, and it doesn't work like that. It really don't. So as your son gets older, we tend to let our kids get a little bit of freedom. So check for example, your son might be riding around and he might have did something wrong, rolled past the police, sped past the police, smoking weed in the car or something like that, ride past the police and they smell it, so they pull him over. The first thing we want to yell is, um, they only put him over because he black. That might be the case in certain situations, but some of the situations that I ran across is not the case. I've been in those situations before. I done been pulled over and I know I was wrong for whatever I got pulled over for. But yet instead I want to argue with the cops and say they prejudice and everything. And that's just something I brung on myself. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to explain to you, when you treat your kid a certain way, it follows him throughout his life, and he feels so like he's obligated to get treated like that in every place he enters or everybody that deals with him, whether it's the job, sports, or just people in general. So We got to stop that. We have to raise our sons to be men, not raise them backwards. He's 13 and he's going backwards. If you think about what the things that the teachers call for, that's something that a 6-year-old would do. And mind you, I said he's 13. So, we kind of shelter the boys like that. So when they grow up, they grow up in this kid mentality in a grown man's body. So like I said, everywhere they go, they feel as though someone's going to treat them like their mom. And it's on us too as men, because at the end of the day, we supposed to be there to give our sons those type of life lessons. I can explain to you a situation. I have a son, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't seen my son since probably about August, and it's not by my choice. It's by his mom's choice, because my son was failing real bad in school. He's 12 years old, and I'm not afraid to say it. My son is 12 years old, and he's in the 5th grade. So when I got a hold of my son, as far as like every time I get my son for the summer, we go to the library. We get books every day. He's supposed to read a book a week. Every morning when you wake up, before you do anything, the first thing you're going to do is brush your teeth, grab something to eat, read a book for an hour. This is our routine every day for the summer. Now, after that hour of you reading that book, you can go outside, you can do whatever you want to do, play some sports or something. So, my son gets money every month. I took care of my son from April all the way up to August. So, I supplied school clothes because his mom got in a little bit of trouble and she got incarcerated. So I had to bring him back to my city and enroll him in school, pay for school clothes, school shoes, whatever else he needed for the school. I did it, which I was supposed to, because that's my son. So, the summertime came. I told her he could stay down here with me again this summer. I can, let her get on her feet or whatever. I'll make sure he got summer clothes, summer shoes, and everything. Pay for all of that. Had a blast this summer. Only thing that he didn't like is he had to read every summer, and there was discipline in my house. You weren't allowed to stay out to 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock at night. You only 12 years old. You have no business out that late. There's nothing out there for you at 12 years old but death and trouble. So my son was in the house by 9 o'clock every night. He didn't like that because he's used to running wild. So when he gets with me, there's structure. So, time to return him back in August. Brung him, dropped him back off. The first thing was said was, where's his school? Did you buy him school clothes and school shoes? Now, mind you, like I said, my son gets a check every month. A nice check. April, May, June, July, August. Five months, right? Out of those 5 months, you couldn't take at least 2 months to save 2 months of check worth of those checks and buy his school clothes and the school shoes. You get enough money to buy all of that with 2 checks. The other 3 checks, you could have did what you did with them. That's no problem. But for you to expect me to send him back with school clothes and school shoes, that's not something that I'm going to do. Regardless, you're not going to take advantage of me. So the results of that was, because I don't argue, so, I said what I said. I said my piece, and I told her, you wrong for thinking that you got money every month for him. What was you doing with the money? So I got cussed out, called a deadbeat, this and that. You'll never see your son again. And I don't like putting the enemy in my business, but that's something that I had to do. So right now I'm just waiting on paperwork to come in so we can go further on with this situation. I'm just giving you guys a personal example of something that happened in my life, and I'm not afraid to share this because I take care of I have 2 kids, and I take care of my kids. I don't have a problem with my daughter's mom. She can tell you I pick my daughter up every weekend. We do things. I even buy stuff, even though she gets a check every month as well, and they're nice checks. It's not like she's getting like $100 or $150, So at the end of the day, my son is the mama's boy, and that's something that I'm gonna break once I get the custody that I need to have my son, which I will pretty soon. So, sometimes it's not in your best interest to argue with a fool. And I say that lightly. But on the other end, I look at situations like that and I see the results of that 10, 15 years later down the road because, I managed businesses where I had to deal with younger African males and their attitudes and how the way we look at life. I looked at life once for probably about a year, but I never was a mama's boy. I was I'm considered the black sheep of the family, so I don't really consider myself a mama's boy. So um, I actually experienced a couple of situations like that, like I said, when I was running a business. So I had to deal with those brothers, and it was hard, but I had to tell them, like, listen, man, you guys are grown men. Anybody else wouldn't even consider dealing with the attitudes that you have. You could tell that you basically, we can tell who's been raised by women and who's been raised by both of the parents. And this is reality. I mean, I'm just speaking facts. It's a lot of it's going on out here. A lot of mama's boys, and they're not potentially turning into strong black men like we need. So right now we're producing some weak brothers out here, and we got to give them a backbone. Us as black African males, we have to step in and give our sons a backbone. We have to take charge in our son's life because otherwise, leaving a job of your kid's mom to raise him as a man is not going to work. You're going to have a bunch of whiners, crybabies, and complainers, and that's not going to get them nowhere. No one is not going to deal with that. A job come a dime a dozen, so they'll let you go like that. And at the end of the day, we look at it like, oh, something must have been wrong with the other person for them to fire my son, or something must be wrong with the other person for them to call home and say my son is doing this and doing that. No, you got to look at the whole situation. You got to look at the whole situation, because at the end of the day, you're the cause of that, Mom. So we have to look at things in a totally different way. We can't accept the fact we can't accept that our sons are not growing up to be okay, let me explain this. We can't accept the fact that we have our sons in a bind and we need to get them out. But once you do accept the fact that you do have your son in a bind and you need to get him out, everything else will manifest for him a little bit better instead of treating him like a baby boy. I kind of lost my train of thought on that, but I don't care. I'm not even deleting this video. I'm going to still put it up. Because something else clicked in my head too. And then on top of that, we also shelter our sons by talking bad about the father. A lot of times, women have issues with the father of their child because they created those issues with resentment. Relationships are not meant to last. Sometimes, sometimes people grow apart, and at the end results, we have kids. You see what I'm saying? The kids have nothing to do with this. So whatever me and you going through, we shouldn't involve our kids. And I see that a lot too, So what the sons see is my mom dogging my dad. So guess what? I'm a dog him. And that's what happens in most of the relationships. So now you got young black men walking around that don't respect older men like me because they feel like I represent what their father is or what their father did to them. But I'm here to tell you, young black brothers, I'm not that type. I'll give a handout to any young black brother I see out here that needs help. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to put the work in. You see what I'm saying? So it takes brothers like us to step up and put this work in. He might not be your son, but at the end of the day, we have to treat him like our sons. They say it take a village to raise a child, but most of the villages are filled with women. What about the male? What about the male child? It's a little bit different when it comes to a female child. But the male child needs that male figure in their life, whether you a dad, an uncle, a cousin, a nephew, a grandfather. We have to be there for our young black males because right now, like I said in the last video, we're considered urban legends. We have the word African male erased out of our vocabulary. It's now niggas and bros. Those are the labels that we choose to go under. Well, that they choose to go under. I'm a black king. I'm an African king, and I represent that every day. I don't. There's no in between. There's no over, no unders. You understand me? So at the end of the day, we have to step up as black kings to give our young black kings a uprising. If we can't do that, we're no good to this world, period. We just wasting breath. It's a lot of talking out here, but there's no action. I do it, I act. Like I said, I go to the library, I see young black brothers in there. I see them, I stop and talk to them. I tell them, you know what I'm saying, and that somebody out here love you, I care for you. If you ever need to talk, you can call me. It go my number, it go my card. You know, I can motivate you into your true self. I can help you become who you supposed to be. You know, I'm here for that. That's what we supposed to do. I'm not gonna bash the mothers that's actually babying their sons because they don't know no better neither. But see, one thing you gotta do is you gotta step up and take charge of what you have done. You have tainted your son with sheltering him and babying him and taking up for every wrong thing that he does. Everything is not justifiable, especially when you're wrong. You can't baby your son and then give him off to the world and expect everybody else to do it, or give your son a crutch or give him a bunch of excuses. You know, I asked somebody one day, where did you find that book at? When they was talking about their son, and they was like, what you mean? I'm like, that book of excuses you got every time your son get in trouble. I haven't heard from the lady after that. This was a while back, so it was kind of funny. But I just told the truth. Like, I mean, it's the truth. Why would you come up with all of these excuses for your son when you know he's doing wrong? When you know your son got pulled over and he had a half a pound of weed in the car, and he know he's not supposed to be riding with that in the car. Why you taking up for your son when he done went over his baby mama house and beat her up because she had another dude over at the house? They're not together, so that's considered the child of your mom. I mean, the mother of your child. I don't like using that word, baby mama, but you know, I'm raw with it. So I come from where I come from, but I am who I am. At the end of the day, we can't keep sugarcoating the fact that we got baby boys running around here. That movie, Baby Boy, it's kind of crazy. You know, I really don't care for it too much, even though it touched on a lot of things that we needed to see. But instead of us embracing that movie and taking it for what it was for, we took it the opposite way, and we thought it was cool to be the baby boy. We thought it was cool to have two baby mamas, and when you bounce from one baby mama to another baby mama, and then when both of them pisses you off, you go to your mom house and you stay at your mom house. You know, I'm that mom's boyfriend in the kitchen cooking pancakes with no clothes on. I'm gonna school you. I'm gonna put you in that headlock when your mama ain't around. So, you know, we ain't gonna play that game when it come to me. I'm gonna teach you how to be a man. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we gotta stop babying these boys out here and turn them into men. You can't baby a boy. He's a boy, not a baby. You have to man the boy. You have to demand the baby out of the boy. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, think about that. We can't have a bunch of baby boys out here running around. They can't protect us. They can't speak for us when we get older, you know? They're gonna be running to their mom for advice. What you should, I mean, you still should be able to. But what I'm saying is, you know, when the going get tough, you can't run in mom all the time. You gotta stand up and be a man and handle it. And a lot of the teenagers out here, they're not doing that. They're running back to mama, and mama's opening the arms and hugging them and putting them almost back in their womb. And he's like 19 or 20 years old. And the sad part about it is everything that he's going through, he caused on his own. So all you doing is justifying the wrong that he's doing, and he's not learning from it. He's gonna continue to do these things, and then that's when prison come, and then that's when police brutality come, and then that's when, because a lot of times, man, you look at certain situations, it could have been avoided. And I'm gonna just be honest with you. A lot of situations could have been avoided. A couple of the young brothers we lost out here, their life could have been avoided if they were was raised the way that they supposed to have been raised. I'm not gonna put no names out there, but you guys seen the stories. A couple of those deaths could have been avoided. And I'm just being honest with you. It starts at home. If you care about your child, you're gonna make sure he gets that proper knowledge, or she gets that proper knowledge before they leave the nest. When the eagle when the eagle lays an egg, and the egg hatches, and the baby eagle comes out. That eagle, that mother, she feeds that eagle to about 5 or 6 weeks. After that, guess what she do? She push him out that nest and make him fly to go and find his own food. She might guide him to the food and she'll show him everything he need to know. But eventually he's gonna be hunting on his own. That's just like any animal in the forest. Any animal in the rainforest, any animal that we know about, they don't keep their kids around for long. They don't keep them under their bosom for long. They show them. You see what I'm saying? And that's what we supposed to do. A bosom is a bosom for a reason. When you 13, 14, you ain't supposed to be running back to mama bosom. You're supposed to be trying to solve problems yourself, you know? And I just want to touch on that because, like I said, I see a lot of that going on. And I don't want to bash no mothers. I don't want to bash any dads that's not there for their kids, because the guilt is already bashing you guys. And I'm just being brutally honest. This is probably one of the longest videos I've made. I just had to talk about that because that starts with a lot of situations that we run across with our young black males right now. But us as men, we have to be in these kids' life, these young black males, these young black men, even the young black women, we have to be in their life. But more so our young black men, because they're losing right now. They're losing bad, real bad. Just look at the prison system. It ain't never been thriving like this. It's the prison system is so, it's going harder than the music industry. People used to invest in all types of stocks and bonds. Guess what they doing now? They investing in prisons. Because they know it ain't nothing but a bunch of baby boys that's being raised out here, and they gotta house them somewhere. Everything's a business when it comes to, when you think about it. So if you wanna build their business up by raising baby boys, that's on you. You the one gonna be living in pain and sorrow. You the one gonna be visiting your son through a TV or through a bar or across the table where it's a guard all down your throat. If you want to make that decision, go ahead. But guess what? They ain't gonna treat him like no baby boy in prison. They're gonna treat him like Mo to the E to the. And I'm just being honest with you, you know? So you raising a baby boy, and then he get in that prison system and he come out as a baby girl, you're gonna be upset because he ain't got no backbone. So he get in that prison system, and they're gonna put a bone in his back, all right? And I'm just being honest with you at the end of the day. So, you know, just think about that for a minute, all right? And I'll get back with y'all later with another video.